Hi everyone, this is Courtney Mulvaney with the Career Development Center, here with part 1 of LinkedIn for PAC Pros. In this particular LinkedIn video, we are going to be looking at what is LinkedIn and why is it important for you as a young professional, and then also how do you build a strong LinkedIn profile. So let's get started. So what is LinkedIn? Well, chances are all of you are familiar with social networking and social media. LinkedIn is social media for your professional life. So LinkedIn is a social network site that is all about making connections with professionals and developing your career. It's extremely useful for a lot of reasons that we will get into. So when you're making a profile on LinkedIn, you go to linkedin.com, you create your free profile. LinkedIn is going to prompt you to fill in a lot of blanks and answer a lot of questions that will help you to start building your profile. But let's look at what makes a successful profile, starting with your headline. Your headline is going to be a short statement about what industry you're in, what is your current position, what do you aspire to be, etc. These are two that are really great examples that go above and beyond the typical student at NC State University that a lot of people might use. Instead, think of what you aspire to be. Think of what you want others to know about you as a professional, and that's a great way to get started. Throughout this video, feel free to pause and read the examples in depth so that you have a great idea of what each of the different parts of the LinkedIn profile look like. Next, you might have noticed that the individuals in the previous slide had a headshot. Headshots are extremely important on LinkedIn, and a professional looking headshot is a key to getting more profile views. With a great headshot, you're looking at 20% more views than a profile that doesn't have a headshot at all. So what makes a good headshot? It should feature you front and center as a bust shot from your shoulders up usually. Now, what makes these other two not great headshots? Well, the middle one, obviously, her face is covered. It can be really nice to have a prop or an item that you use in your industry to show what industry you're in. So I love her choosing to use the camera. However, she could lower the camera just a bit, and that would then free her face up for others to be able to see her, which is the most important part of your LinkedIn. It's a marketing document or marketing profile for you as a professional. The next one has two people. So first and foremost, I wonder, okay, whose profile is this? And then the other obvious thing is this is like a vacation, fun, casual selfie. Now, a selfie is not wrong, but you want to have a selfie that looks professional where you can't say that you're necessarily holding the phone. So make sure that you do have a professional headshot. We sometimes host events where we do LinkedIn headshots from the Career Development Center. So keep an eye out on EPAC for events like that where you can get your own LinkedIn headshot by a professional. If not, take a selfie or get a friend to take a photo of you, and that'll be just fine for now. The next item is your cover photo. This is the one that appears behind your headshot, and this is a great chance to once again show someone what your brand is all about or what industry or major you're in. I often use an NC State background because I love NC State, but you can choose something that reflects your major, and that's perfect. Now, when we get into the meat of a profile, really the first thing that someone's going to be looking at, besides your name and your headline, is going to be your summary area. This is an area that can be up to 2,000 characters, and it's a first look into who you are as a professional. You can include what you're looking for if you're seeking opportunities, and you can show off your background and skills. You also can include assessment results that you might have, such as the ones below, especially the strengths, because that's one that is the common experience for 2020. So that's a great place to use those results to show employers what you're best at. The next place and next piece of information, which is really the meat of your profile as well, is your experience. Don't panic if you don't have a lot yet. That's why you're here at NC State. So you can format your experience section much like you would format a resume, using bullet points and examples from your experience. Now, the great thing about LinkedIn is that unlike a resume, there's not a page limit. So you can include more details if you'd like, and you don't have to necessarily be quite as selective with all of the experiences. So you can include the great experiences that you have without a fear of it being too long. Do make sure that your bullet points are concise and that they are relevant. So just because you can make it as long as you want doesn't necessarily mean you should. So make sure you're using that to be a concise and dynamic candidate. You also will have your education section for your LinkedIn profile. And this is going to be fairly straightforward. You put your major, you put your degree level, the years that you're at NC State. You can include activities and societies that you're a part of, as well as minors that you might have. In this example, you also see that Winston Wolfe, who is our student example profile that you should totally connect with, has an example of when he was in a production at the NC State University Theater, which is awesome. So there is a way to add media and featured items to your profile. This is a great way to make your profile more dynamic, but make sure to use them strategically. Don't put anything on there just because you can. Think of how this shows your work and who you are as a young professional. LinkedIn has a lot of great areas to highlight how you are an amazing young professional. And as I mentioned, LinkedIn will guide you through. Some tips to remember for these areas. When you're including courses, don't include intro classes that are not relevant to where you want to go. Winston is really interested in doing research, nonprofit work, and data analysis. So he did include his Introduction to Behavioral Research, Nonprofits, and Stats classes. That makes sense. But he didn't include Intro to Psychology because that's not necessarily as relevant as some of his more advanced courses. Keep that in mind. Organizations, languages, honors, and projects are also wonderful things to include in your LinkedIn profile. Another feature of LinkedIn is that you can have skills and endorsements. So someone who's maybe taken a class with you or has worked with you can see that, for this example, Winston has said that he is skilled in psychology, nonprofits, and student development. He has endorsements for nonprofit and student development by others who say that he does in fact have this skill. And that can be a great way to add confidence to an employer knowing that you do have the skills you say you have. And then an even better one is recommendations. Only ask for recommendations from individuals that you feel confident can speak to your skills and your performance. A supervisor or a mentor can be a great recommender. Keep in mind with recommendations, you want quality over quantity. It's very important to keep that in mind. And this is a great way for an employer to be able to see immediately what it might be like to work with you. Another great way to develop your LinkedIn profile is to add groups, companies, and schools and to follow them. This will help keep you up to date on the newest developments from companies and maybe graduate schools that you're interested in, and it keeps your newsfeed interesting. It also can be a great thing when you apply at a company and they see that you're already following them, because that just once again shows you're interested and you're proactive. I hope this has been helpful for getting you started with your LinkedIn profile. LinkedIn is definitely something that you want to develop and to start when you are in the university setting. It's a great place to grow your network and to use LinkedIn to prepare yourself for the job search, internship search, and your future as a professional. So be sure to check out part number 2 to learn how to leverage LinkedIn for growing your network, connecting with alumni, and getting a job.